Let me give you a couple examples. Again, this is in class 12, the UPS. Retire between the ages of 50 and 54, your premium is $250 a month. If you retire between 55 and 59, it's $200. And between 60 and 64, it's $150. It doesn't go down. It depends on when you retire. So if you retire at that 50 to 54, it starts out at $250 and would theoretically stay there. It doesn't go down. The longer you wait, the lower your base is. Those rates have stayed pretty much the same over the last few years, but whenever I talk to people that are going to retire, I give them the same advice, and I'm certainly going to give it loud and hard here. Don't expect them to stay the same. I expect these things to go up every year. The pressure on funds to maintain this large of an early retiree subsidy is huge. And most of the funds increase the retiree costs every year. If you plan for an increase every year, you won't be disappointed. If you don't plan for an increase every year, you will be disappointed at some point in time. So it's very low. I can tell you that when the trustees have increased it, they've tried to do it in a modest format. I think that there is a school of thought that perhaps a small increase every year is something that would be, that you, again, should count on. Now that's medical and pharmacy. You're also allowed, and the trustees just made a change on this yesterday, you're also allowed to purchase a dental and vision combination going forward. That dental and vision is not subsidized, so it's expensive. The vision component of it is $30 a month, and the dental is $129, and we package them together, so it's essentially $160 a month. That's regardless if you're a single or whether you got, married and have other dependents. If you're single, don't buy it. If you've got dependents, take a good look at it. Dental insurance makes a lot of sense when your employer is paying it because it's paid with before tax dollars. When you're buying it yourself, you're paying with after tax dollars. And if you think, if it's costing you $900 a year for a dental plan that has a $2,000 benefit, think it through. I see a lot of retirees purchasing dental insurance because they've always had it, think they need it. It doesn't insure that much, so just don't automatically do it. Take a good look at it. I particularly meet with a lot of retirees that don't have teeth left and are buying dental insurance. Come on. They're all out. Don't be getting. A couple of questions. Trevor gave me some questions that he asked me to take a look at, and I'll try to cover those, and I'll be glad to take any other ones too. But one of the things to keep in mind from a planning standpoint is that the early retirement component is for the participant. Okay? So when the participant turns 65, now we'll talk about the Medicare part of it, that early retirement goes away. If they have a dependent who's less than 65, the plan then will allow that dependent to pay COBRA going forward. And COBRA is not $250 a month. It is the cost of the plan. So if you've got a difference, and I think we all have differences between our ages and spouse, keep that in mind from a planning standpoint, because that's one that will trip some people up. The plan right now, once you turn 65, you being the participant, ends. The trustees are looking at endorsing a Medicare supplement product in order to provide some buying power to you, but that would be on a pass-through basis. The Medicare world is, for those of you that have approached, gotten close enough to 65, and whoever sells our name and age to whoever, we just start getting mountains of stuff. It is complicated. We have a lot of experience with that in our office. We'd be glad to help you through that when you get into it. I can tell you that the last time we looked, there's 48 separate products that you could purchase in the state of Minnesota, and they range from $50 a month to $500 a month. Depending on what your situation is, where you intend to live, are you going to be doing a lot of traveling, what's the age of your spouse, it's a wide variety. And so there's no one size that fits all. So you start looking at that when you're 64, start talking to us about it and start getting some information on it, because that is going to be one of the more difficult decisions that you make. So the early retirement depends on when you retire, what the age is. You get the opportunity to purchase the dental and the vision. By the way, if you purchase that, you can drop it, but then you can't come back in. You know, think about it. I mean, if we let people pay for dental and then stop paying, and then a year later start paying again, I mean, that wouldn't be good for the plan. So we're going to let you make a decision, and then once you've made that, you can't come back into the fund. I have a basic, one other question that I think is paramount in everybody's mind, or at least it's on mine. The air conditioning is cranked up to the highest level. I checked on that, in case you were wondering. Yeah, me too. All right, I'm going to pause right there and take any questions or comments people have about what I've gone through so far, and then I'll wrap up on a couple things. Yes. I'm going to also use that as an opportunity to take a little swig of water. Yeah.
You were talking about the division of the dental plan, buy-in, can't get out, or can't get back in. Is there different levels, or is it just one level?
Just one level.
One level.
Yeah. The question was, is there different vision dental plans? No, there's just the one. Yeah. It would be for dependents, if any dependents that you have.
Is the 26-year age limit on the dependents?
Yes. Yeah. The question is, you know, that's one of the things that I was going to wrap up with was the impact of healthcare reform on your plan. But the 26 is throughout all the plans. Yep.
My spouse is 2 years older, or at least when he collects Medicare at 65, will he still be with mine, or is he go strictly Medicare?
The question is, if I'm a participant and I'm 63 and my spouse turns 65, what does that spouse have to do? Your plan says that once you are Medicare eligible, you're no longer covered under this fund. So your spouse that turns 65 before you do would be expected to be off the plan and on Medicare. If you are eligible for Medicare, you're not eligible for this fund. Yes? I'm going to walk to you. Hang on. The question is, in the early retirement premiums that I talked about previously, does the age of the spouse impact that in any manner? No, it doesn't. That is the rate that when you retire, with your spouse age, or even if you don't have a spouse, that is the rate. And again, I'll reiterate, where it's an issue is if you turn 65 and your spouse is 7, 8 years younger than you, you've got some planning to make up on that. Yep. The question is this the same thing that applies to part-time people? I don't know what the difference between part-time and full-time is. Trevor, did you hear that question? Well, aren't you paying attention? Jeez. The question was, a part-time employee, do they still have the same retirement as full-time employee?
Part-time I'm with the UPS plan, and I don't have that information, so I don't know about the UPS plan. So I can't answer that question.
That's the same thing I said. Jeez. Yeah.
Does it matter, okay, for this insurance, if you have 29 years or 30 years, like if you're between 55 and 59?
The question is length of service impact the premium? It does not. You look strictly at the age.
You're talking about this plan on this premium going up.
Yes.
You don't know what the figure is going to be, and are we actually guaranteed that insurance? I mean, are we going to know we're going to get this insurance if we retire early?
The question is there any guarantees that the plan will continue the early retiree? And I think tangential to that question is, what type of controls are there on the increases? There is no guarantee of the plan. The plan exists because the trustees feel that it's an important benefit for it. There is no, it's not a vested benefit. It's not like a pension, that can't be taken away. It can be taken away. So there is no guarantee. I can say that the fund is healthy. It's self-insured, as I said. It's got over $52 million. Labor and management have made it clear that in this industry, early retirement is a cornerstone of it, something that both sides support. So that would have to change in order for that, but there is no guarantee. As far as the increase, healthcare costs have been going up 8 to 10% a year. It's hard to see that that would not have the same type of impact on the early retiree. I'm going to take this guy up.
Can that be automatically withdrawn out of our checking account?
The question is, can it be automatically withdrawn? Yeah, we will have that available to you no later than January 1. It wasn't done before in your previous office. We have the capability to do that, so we're rolling that out, and you'll be getting the information from us on that.
The dental and vision is $160. Is that just for a certain length of time after you retire, or is that?
The question is, on the dental and the vision, the 160, is that a certain length of time? It used to be 3 years. Or a year and a half, depending on the situation. The trustees just this week said, if you wish to buy it for the entire early retirement until you turn Medicare eligible, you can. So there's no time limit anymore. I'm going to take you.
You said you bundled the dental and the vision, and you buy one or the other?
Currently, they're bundled. So the question is, can you buy one or the other? And in the retirement, it's a combination thing. This man.
I apologize if you already answered this, but you said you pay a premium upon early retirement. When I reach Medicare age, I will have still a minor and a spouse. Do you have them remain on the plan? They pay the same monthly premiums?
No. The question is, once the participant turns 65, what can my dependents pay going forward? It is not the early retirement. It would be the COBRA rate. And the COBRA rate right now is about $1,500 a month. Yeah. I said it, now let's be the third time I said it. If you got a significant gap, you're going to have to plan for that. Yeah.
Now, when you were talking about a dependent, if they're 65, they've got to go on Medicare status. Is that just after early retirement?
All right. That's a good question. Okay. I'm going to wrap up here in a little bit. I can tell from the murmur I'm losing some attention span here. I don't blame it. I get about 20 minutes myself, and I don't even listen to myself. But the question is, when you turn 65, is there a difference if you're working or not working relative to Medicare? And that's a great question. If you're 65 and continuing to be working, and the employer is making contributions, the plan is primary. The plan is primary. Medicare rules are that regardless of how old you are, if you are working and you are part of an employer-sponsored plan, that plan is primary. So and we have a number of participants who are older than 65 that we're still primary on because they're continuing to work. Somebody over here said, don't get any ideas.